Right now, we are walking through the cemetery surrounding the Church of All Saints, which is built on top of the Sedlec Ossuary, otherwise known as the Bone Church. This place is located in the Czech Republic, in the small town of Sedlec, a suburb of Kutná Hora. The cemetery surrounding the ossuary is where the history of this place really begins. In the year 1278, Henry, the abbot of the Cistercian monastery in Sedlec, was sent to the Holy Land by King Ottokar II of Bohemia. This was during the Crusades, and even though it was a very dangerous time to be there, he managed to grab a small amount of earth from the town of Golgotha and sprinkled it over the Abbey Cemetery when he got back. Tens of thousands of people were buried here after the Black Death, because now the Sedlec Cemetery was considered holy ground. Around the year 1400, a Gothic church was built in the center of the cemetery, with a vaulted upper level and a lower chapel to be used as an ossuary for the mass graves unearthed during the construction. After 1511, the task of exhuming skeletons and stacking their bones in the chapel was given to a half-blind monk of the Cistercian monastery. I've been given permission by the officials of Sedlec to go in and do a sound walk of the church and the ossuary, so let's get inside. The church as it stands today was built between 1703 and 1710. It's built in the Czech Baroque style and was designed by Jan Santini Eichel. If you listen closely, you can almost hear the old masses and chanting that undoubtedly took place in this old house of worship. This church has all the characteristics of the classic Baroque style. High archways, stained glass windows, vaulted ceilings with murals painted on them. The one thing that stands out about this church is the use of bones as decoration. The bones that were exhumed from the mass graves in the cemetery were stacked into 4 piles in the ossuary. In 1870, František Rindt, a woodcarver, was employed by the Schwarzenberg family to put the bone heaps into order, yielding the macabre sculptures. Now let's make our way down the stairs into the ossuary to check out the famous Bone Church and the work of František Rindt. As we make our way down into the ossuary, we notice 2 chalices and a cross-like sculpture made completely out of skulls and other bones. To visualize what the ossuary looks like, you can picture a square divided into 9 pieces. In the 4 corners are 4 giant piles of bones that were stacked by František Rindt in 1870. These bone pyramids are freestanding. František Rindt used no adhesives or any other kinds of mortar to keep these pyramids structurally sound. At the very center of the ossuary, there are 4 small obelisks decorated with skulls and other bones of the body. These 4 obelisks sit directly under the main piece of František Rindt's work. A large and elaborate chandelier dominates the central space. Like the other ornamentations, it is entirely made up of human remains. Femurs, skulls, scapulas, and vertebrae combine intricately in an elaborately grisly, nightmarish centerpiece that would not be out of place in Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment. In a nod to macabre completionists, the chandelier uses at least one of every single bone in the human body. Around the ossuary, thousands of skulls stare at you with blank orbits, their pale features long parted from their mandibles. Pelvic sections make up the petals of skeletal flowers, while bony chalices inhabit shallow niches. Festively looping chains of bone are draped from the vaulted ceiling like streamers at the worst birthday party you've ever been to. Arcing lines of skulls accomplish a similar effect over the gateways to the pyramids, each which occupies the side of the chapel's transepts. Essentially huge mountains of bones and skulls, the pyramids would be gruesome reminders of mortality anywhere else on the planet. Yet here, surrounded by similar deathly objects, they seem curiously normal. In 1870, František Rindt was hired to put some order to these skeletal remains. Rindt chose to go one step further, and he created this bizarre work, even recreating the Schwarzenberg coat of arms and his own signature using the bones.